Hi everyone, and welcome to my channel where I talk about movies. And the movie I want to talk about today comes from 1967, In the Heat of the Night, starring Sidney Poitier, Rod Steiger, the winner of the Oscar for 1967 for Best Picture and also Best Actor for Rod Steiger. And this is a story about a Philadelphia police officer, Virgil Tibbs, who gets involved in a murder case down in Sparta, Mississippi. He's visiting family. He's on the train ready to go back. He gets picked up as a suspect because he's a black man and a stranger. As a suspect in this murder case, Rod Steiger plays the sheriff that is investigating the case, and Sidney Poitier, Virgil Tibbs. There's two more movies to follow, starring Poitier as Virgil Tibbs. Um, he gets arrested, but when he gets to the police station, he shows his badge as a Philadelphia police officer, and to confirm his identity, the sheriff calls the Philadelphia Police Department, and and they tell Virgil to help out in this murder investigation, even though he's not wanted. He nevertheless sticks around. In the first part of the movie, reluctantly, later on, he wants to definitely catch the killer because he has great skills, as he's touted as the best homicide detective in Philadelphia, and he proves to be just that. I mean, he's just, once he views the body of the murdered man, he comes up with all kinds of theories about the killing that would escape the sheriff, played by Rod Steiger. And so, but this mystery really isn't much of a mystery. I mean, it's sort of like tangential to the actual appeal of the film, which is the interplay between Virgil Tibbs and the local sheriff, who does not have Virgil Tibbs' skill. There's a few more suspects that get brought in on circumstantial evidence, and the sheriff thinks he's got the goods, and until Virgil shows him that there's no way this suspect could have been the killer. So we get this interaction. The local sheriff resents this presence of Virgil Tibbs, but he comes to recognize pretty early he needs this expertise in order to solve the murder. And of course, he's a black man, and this is the crux of the story: is this a black policeman from the north, a southern, I guess you would say, a cracker. I mean, the prejudice run high in 1967 when this film was released, and this is a time of race riots. I think in the year '66 when this was filmed, I think it was in Detroit, a big time race riot in Detroit. And here where I live in Michigan, or I live in New Jersey, in Newark, and other parts of New Jersey also experienced race riots. In fact, the town over, I lived in North Plainfield, the town over Plainfield, you could actually hear gunshots during their riots. So this is a highly explosive, volatile situation in 1967. Now, the film doesn't recognize any of that. The recognition is in how white people viewed black people, especially black people that were successful, and knows more than the white, in this case, the white sheriff in the town. In fact, they had to shoot the film, even though it's set in Sparta, Mississippi. They had to shoot the town. They had to shoot in Illinois. There was actually a Sparta, Illinois, because the town was originally named something else. But then there were so many signs saying Sparta, they changed the location, the fictional location, to Sparta, Illinois. Poitier did not want to go to below the Mason-Dixon line. He was afraid of, and understandably so, he was afraid of the potential violence were he to go down south. When the Academy Awards came around in April, they had to delay it a couple days because Martin Luther King was assassinated in Memphis. Uh, so, and I think the day before the Academy Awards, so they delayed it a couple days. So racial tensions were running high, to be sure, in 1967, 1966, 1967. Now, but they did want to, the director, Norman Jewison, he wanted to shoot on a cotton plantation. So he did convince Poitier to just go for like 3 or 4 days into Tennessee, and they also needed a big southern type mansion for probably the most famous scene in the film. And if you've seen it, you know what it is, the famous slap, which startled audiences. Is certainly the Deep South, but it startled audiences everywhere, I think. And so if this mystery is not very interesting and it's sort of pushed aside, and you know, it's not very satisfying for sure. It does have performances, and Poitier being an actor who, generally speaking, is very quiet, facing off against an actor, Rod Steiger, who is probably one of maybe the hammiest actor, the most over-the-top actor in Hollywood cinema history, which is not to say he's bad, but he's definitely over the top, and sometimes it's just fun to watch him go over the top. But for a lot of scenes in here, because he's very good when he underplays Rod Steiger, it's when he overplays, oh boy, this guy can really act. So it's a good mix of acting styles. Poitier is the character, becomes the character. Steiger has to get to the character through various means. He's chewing gum furiously at the beginning of the film and occasionally throughout. And I thought, boy, he's got to have some sort of tick going. But actually, in the extra supplements, we learned that was in the script. And we have a interesting supporting performance by Warren Oates. This is, you know, a non-Western, I guess kind of rare non-Western for Warren Oates to be in. We have Lee Grant, who had been blacklisted, was just starting to make films again in the 60s, but she had been on TV fairly extensively. She gives a rather odd performance in here. I like Lee Grant, she's a great actress, but she has some odd choices, especially when she learns that her husband has been killed. She plays the widow of this rich man. The couple have come to this town from Chicago in order to build a new industry, which would be great for the town as far as employment. And she doesn't share the same prejudices against black policemen, and she recognizes early on that he's the one that is going to be able to solve the case and tell her who killed her husband. And then there's Scott Wilson is also, I think this is his debut film. Right after this, he went into In Cold Blood. He played one of the killers of the Clutter family in Kansas, based on the Truman Capote, in which he was really good. And you can see the talent here in his first film. I want to mention an actress in a supporting role because she makes quite an impression. Her name is Quentin Dean, and she plays a 16-year-old who lives with her brother. Her brother goes to work at night, and she likes to prance about in the nude at nighttime for all the peeping toms, of which Warren Oates, the deputy sheriff, also takes the peek when he drives down her street. But she has a scene here. Even though she has a very small role, she really has the pivotal role as far as the mystery goes. And she has a scene where she describes a sexual encounter with Warren Oates in a cemetery, and she's just spectacular for the couple minutes that she's on there. And Quentin Dean did not have a big film career. I think she was in The Naked Kiss for Samuel Fuller, a few TV shows, but probably only about a dozen credits, and then she disappeared. And I'm always curious about, actors that have their moment, and then nothing develops from that moment. She was nominated for Best Supporting Actress in the Golden Globes. So uh, the Academy Awards, were now delayed. But the wins Best Picture, wins Best, and it won Best Picture over Bonnie and Clyde and The Graduate. It won Best Actor for Rod Steiger. I can't remember. I know Warren Beatty was nominated for Bonnie and Clyde, which was also nominated for Best Picture. Um, and it is the kind of picture that, sort of like, the Hollywood liberal view of race relations. And in fact, a similar situation was also won the Academy Award. I forget what year it was. Maybe 2018. Green Book with Viggo Mortensen and Michelle Ali, which has a similar kind of black man, white man, not getting not getting warned right away, but it develops positively, and I'm not sure that it develops positively here in the heat of the night, but it's certainly it's certainly interesting, and that's really what everybody came to see. So there is now the reception of the movie was obviously really good. It also won the New York Film Critics for Best Picture, and in those days, in 1967. There was a different kind of film distribution where the big films would play in the big cities. So I lived in New Jersey, and The Heat of the Night was playing in New York City, builds up all the reviews, builds up a buzz before it would come to the local movie theaters. Now in Plainfield, the next town over, there was Paramount Theater. I remember I was there many times, and they were like the A-list theater in that town. And so it would take maybe 3 or 4 weeks before we would get there and to other outside the big city theaters. So I had the means of, I was only about 20 miles from Manhattan's, and the bus was right down the street, bus to New York. So I went to these, I would try to go to as many, of these types of films. And I saw this in a theater right off Times Square on Broadway. And the excitement of seeing a movie like that was getting a lot of buzz, and especially the gasp that comes with the famous slap scene. It was just really interesting. And now there's also a Kino 4K that's recently come out. So this is a DVD from 2018 that was gifted to me by a good friend. And it's in the Criterion Collection. They have the Blu-ray, but Kino got the 4K edition. Now there's a commentary here in which Norman Jewison and Haskell Wexler, the cinematographer, are on it, and a little bit of Rod Steiger, and he's funny because he never makes much sense when he's talking about it. But what's really humorous is that Jewison was talking about how over the top Steiger was, and he had to keep bringing him down, and Poitier was a little bit uncomfortable with how far Steiger was in his acting style. So, and then Steiger comes on, and this is not, they're not together in this commentary, but Steiger comes on and he says, "Well, what is this over the top stuff?" And Steiger could be good. I mean, obviously on the waterfront, I like him in The Big Knife. I think with Jack Palance for director Robert Aldrich from the late 50s. He can be entertaining. In fact, I've actually, as years go by, I've actually become a little bit, he's become a little bit of a favorite of mine, just because he has this really unusual, intense acting style. Well, a lot of actors have intense, but he really brings it to the max. And then, so there's a really good commentary. There's a couple featurettes that see from a more modern perspective, I guess, for the Criterion edition, because, well, actually, they take, the Criterion edition has the same commentary and these two features where they talk about the movie and its impact on John Singleton, the director, in particular, talk about its impact, how it relates to the social situation 1967. There's a feature on Quincy Jones, who did the music. This is one of his first notable scores, I think. And there's a great title song. I forgot all about the title song. Alan and Marilyn Bregman wrote the lyrics, Quincy Jones the music. And Ray Charles sings it. It's called In the Heat of the Night. It's a killer song. And they were playing with some really great musicians that Quincy Jones often used. So overall, In the Heat of the Night, a great movie to revisit. Again, it's on 4K, and Kino Blu-ray is in the Criterion Collection. Okay, thanks a lot for everybody who managed to listen. I do appreciate it. Comments are welcome. Take care.